Well, I apparently just completely messed up that intro. I was supposed to do have the theme song and everything playing, and then I realized I didn't have the theme song loaded. So, so there was music here. I'll play it on the outro. That's what I'll do. I'll play the music for the outro, and everyone will be happy. So, good morning, friends, kind friends, and companions, guys, gals, and non-binary gingerbread pals. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Shakespeare's Coffee Break. I am your friendly neighbourhood Shakespeare, and I am on my coffee break. Let's start things off with a nice noisy slurp right now. That's just good internet audio. That's what that is right there. Yeah. I have an amazing guest for you today, but before we talk about that, did you like yesterday's show? It was a 2-hour special produced by Digital Renfair, and that was the Burns Night Supper. We did it as a paid event on Saturday, and then they graciously gave me permission to re-air it yesterday, since yesterday, January 25, was Robert Burns Day. So I hope you enjoyed it. Haggis Rampant, Lady Prudence, the court composer, the Langers Ball, they're all just some amazing, wonderful performers. And go follow them everywhere. Go give them all the money you can and just enjoy it. And you can, of course, go back and rewatch that show on yesterday's feed. And then also, just go to youtube.com/digitalrenfair to watch the original show if you want really high fidelity for that. Today's guest, though, let's talk about him. He's not here. He can't hear me. He can't hear me. No, he can't. He's backstage. He has no idea what's going on. No. Today's guest is absolutely brilliant. He is an actor, an improv artist. He is a mega nerd and an itinerant goblin. Yes, he is the amazing, the talented, the delightful, also fellow bald man, and I appreciate that, Alex Stompoly. Let's bring him on the show right now. It's Alex Stompoly.
Hi.
Muppet arms, hooray!
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, goodness gracious. Alex Stompoly, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I also took this opportunity to get my coffee, so I'm in good company. So yes, I'm doing
Cheers.
great.
Cheers. I will clink you. There you go. Well done. All right. And as our mutual friend Paolo Garbanto says, when you cheers, you then have to make, in Sicilian tradition, you have to make really awkward eye contact with each other.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Well done. Yes. That was really good and awkward. I like it. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, dear sir, you and I, we became acquainted through doing Nat 21 Adventures, where you were playing the brilliantly adorable Goblin Pax, and...
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and just king of the one-liners on that. But I need to know, how did you get into this amazing, weird profession, this business that we call show?
Oh, wow. Goodness. So I started doing theater when I was in high school. I went to Oak Park High School in Kansas City, Missouri. And then upon graduation, I went to Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri, and I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts there. And I moved to New York, like every young aspiring actor wants to do. And when I was there, I actually took, in February, my first year there, I went to UPTA's in Memphis, so drawing you a map. And then UPTA's in Memphis got me a callback to a job at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair.
Wait. You went to the UPTA's in Memphis. You went to the UPTA's in Memphis! That joke was so stupid. I apologize. Back to Alex. Go ahead.
And it got me a callback at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. And then I did that, and I went back to New York to do my regular job and just, make ends meet. And then I got a phone call, and they were like, would you like to come to PA and be the role of Sir Walter Roderick Kensington was my first role in Pennsylvania. And I said yes, and then I have been here ever since. We're going on 5 years now. So that's really kind of like the shortened version of how it's all started. And then in between there, I've done various things. I've done a little bit of commercial work. I've done some other theater on the side, Christmas and murder mysteries and improv work. So that's like the really short autobiography of my performance career.
That's the short autobiography of your performance career. All right, that was really fast. Like, people ask me for some interviews that I do, all right, where do you come from? And half an hour later, I finally bring us up to the present. So it's just it should be just, you know what, I've done some stuff and here I am.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and just, say, for 8 months before I got to PA, I folded shirts on Broadway, but you don't want to hear about t-shirt folding.
Yes, I do. Where did you fold shirts? Because you were on Broadway.
I was on Broadway. I was a merch boy on Broadway. I worked for a wonderful company called Creative Goods, and we did the merchandise for a bunch of shows. I did merchandise for Waitress, Cats, Hamilton is the big one when everyone hears that. I was the merchandise manager of Indecent when it opened. We did Play That Goes Wrong. So I spent my nights on Broadway when I moved to New York, but I was the guy you met at the front being like, $40 t-shirt, $20 program, and then I'd go home at the end of the night. So that was my Broadway career.
I may have walked directly past you because I'm like, $40 for a t-shirt. No, I will not do that. I'm going to go to the guy down the street and pay the knockoff price. That's what I'm going to do.
You probably would walk right past. No, it was a lot of fun too, because as a young actor who, like, New York was expensive, and
oh yeah, I've lived there twice, and
and the way for me anyway, the way the industry kind of felt like it was going was aggressively becoming pay to play.
Really?
Just if you go to an audition and maybe you didn't get seen, or I even sat in on some casting workshops through some theaters. They'd have casting directors come and just like talk to actors in a big room, and some of them even admitted like they wouldn't consider casting you till they'd seen you like 4 to 5 times, or if they had seen you like in a class. And I was like, my rent is almost $1,000. I work at night. What am I? What's the game here? And so it was nice to have this Broadway job so that when I wasn't folding, I could go and watch the show. And so I could sit on the stairs of like the theater that I was at and just watch actors and just treat every night just like a visual masterclass. So it was very thankful. But I was even more thankful to get an acting job, so I didn't have to do that anymore.
New York City is the single greatest place in the world to live as an actor. If you want to get a job in acting that's not in New York City.
Yeah. Oh, no, exactly. Well, yeah, I was there. I moved there in September, and by that summer, I was leaving.
Yeah,
so like the 2 years that I had my apartment, I had only maybe spent a collective like 10 months, like all together in New York.
I spent 2 separate 6-month jaunts there. One as an intern with a news agency, and then so that was collegey, and then the other as a working actor. And the thing that determined me leaving, because I was subletting my uncle's apartment. So he was giving me a sweetheart deal, so that was nice. But he was like, hey, I'm selling the apartment. Do you want to buy it? I'm giving you right of first refusal. It's like, okay, cool. What do I got to do? And it was way more than I could afford. And I was like, all right, have to get a couple of roommates. And it was a 3-bedroom. I mean, this was an amazing apartment. Do not get me wrong. It was in Manhattan on 18th Street and First Avenue. So it's just very nice, in Stuyvesant Park. So, walking distance to the United Nations. Go to Stuyvesant Park today. You might see an ambassador. No, so I don't know why this became an ad for Stuyvesant Park. So I got 2 roommates lined up. Great, we're doing wonderful. All of us were making enough money to not just meet the rent, but be okay. And then one of them got a gig out of town, and then another one got a gig out of town. And I'm like, all right. And I said to my uncle, okay, I'm not going to be able to do it. So he goes, okay, cool. And I found a less expensive apartment in Brooklyn. I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to be in Brooklyn anyway. So it's the day before I sign a lease, and I get a gig that's going to take me back to my hometown in Pennsylvania for the next 9 months. It's like, oh, that's weird. So, all right, bye.
Yeah, and thank goodness you got there before you had to go through the whole thing of like getting a subletter and doing all of that, because
Oh yeah, and it was the day before. I was supposed to sign the lease, and the cat I was going to go in with on the apartment, he's like, You couldn't just sublet it? I'm like, I'm not gonna. No,
No,
no. It's like
I
that's not how this works.
no, and I did the subletter route. I had to do it twice in my time there, and just friend or stranger, it is just a gamble. You just and it's just frustrating. So if you can avoid it, avoid it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, Susan. Sort of clean shaven Shakespeare is weird. I trimmed it down for Nat 21 for Sunday to be Augustus one more time, and yeah, I coloured it in, so it would really stand out. But now I'm just growing the beard back. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, look. Alex looks close enough to me. Let him Alex, just move your mouth, and I will just let you know that I have amazingly enough grown my beard back. I've also shaved my head, and that's pretty good. It's a good look. I'm trying it out, you know. I mean, like, here's the fun thing. You never see enough shaven-headed men with good-shaped heads. I mean, so many people say, I'm going to shave my head. It's like, no, buddy, don't do that. No. You need to be already going bald, because then you are proven to have a really good shaped head, unless you're Clint Howard. Just throwing shade at Clint Howard today. That's what we're doing. That was the most amazing bit I've ever done on the show.
Oh, yeah,
you need to come back every Tuesday.
I was doing the bit, like, in the moment, I was like sitting there going, not only like both bald, good facial hair, our dangle earring is on the same side. So I just
see, this is good. And you know we're in the Renaissance community because we wear the dangly earring as opposed to just getting a stud in. Although when I'm done with the show, I will probably just put the stud back into my head.
I put on my non-threatening one because I bought recently. I have like a pocket knife one that folds out into a blade, and I've been leaving it open. But then, like, if I move too fast, like, I'll hit myself, and I'm just always afraid that I'm gonna.
All right, so Alex, we're going to be having you do more of a series of silly bits here by audience request.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm gonna make you front and live here.
Okay.
Once again, this is Alex Stompoly, actor at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. He's one of the top people. But the request is, well, this is a request from me, but it's suggested by the audience. It says, Kathy Cruz says, Alex's eyebrows are the most expressive eyebrows since The Rock. So, Alex, can you please give us the people's eyebrow? All right, tilt the head. There you go. Do you smell what Alex Stompoly's cooking? It's probably grits. I don't know. He's from Missouri. Susan Hill said Alex, stop moving your mouth. This is going to be amazing. I glanced away and came back and was like, what happened to the audio? I refreshed and still broken. What? Susan, there's nothing wrong with your audio. This is how the show works now. I am so tickled pink by this. I was having a real crap afternoon yesterday. This is picking me right back up.
I saw your status. I felt so bad. We had communicated a little bit on Messenger, and I just saw you're like, let's try it all again tomorrow. And I was like, I'm there with you. I understand.
We all have those moments. I mean, you know, all those days we're all entitled, and it's just like, you know, crap days happen. But for the most part, for touching wood, because of course there are exceptions, there's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I mean, they wrote a freaking Broadway song about it. Come on.
I love Annie.
Oh my god. I did. All right.
You would be a really good. You'd be. I know. I'm casting you and stuff. You'd be a really good rooster. Like, not
I
the animal,
accept.
but you know,
I accept. Easy
Okay.
Street is one of my favorite songs.
Oh.
And Tim Curry is goals for me.
Oh, okay. So thank you for mentioning that, Annie. I get into a fight with people. Is it the Carol Burnett Annie or is it the Kathy Bates Annie? And I grew up with the Carol Burnett.
Yeah.
Curry, Bernadette Peters trio, and that's just where I live.
I mean, and then like Easy Street, when you watch the extended cut version of it, which is the one we have, the first time I saw the DVD of it, I'm like, this song isn't in. I mean, like, I knew it because I'd seen it on I'd seen the Broadway version several times. I mean, not actually on Broadway, but, you know, community theaters, etc. one of the most done shows in America, by the way, people. High schools, community theaters, regional companies, etc. But I'm like, Easy Street isn't in the movie. And then, and I called up my best friend, who I hadn't like spoken to on the phone in years, like my best friend from childhood. And I said, we would watch Annie all the time. Yeah. The song Easy Street isn't in it. He says, no. And I said, so what is this? And I'm like I held the phone. And he goes, they must have put it back in.
Catch it, put it back where it belongs.
Yeah, it's just like, And then that beggars the question, why'd you cut it off of the VHS? Why'd you do that, random movie studio who I don't know who you are? Why'd you do that? I mean, I'm happy now, but still. But 8-year-old me was upset. And didn't even know it.
Yeah, it could have been a very different life if 8-year-old you had Easy Street.
If I had seen Tim Curry doing the crazy thing with the legs and all that.
The legs on the I mean, Carol Burnett kicks her foot through the wall.
I mean,
down the...
it's just like, what is this? This is amazing. Anyway, yeah, thank you. I accept the part of Rooster. Thank you, sir.
Very welcome. If anyone out there wants to help get this produced and off the ground, it'll be great.
We're launching a Kickstarter right after this show, obviously. That's what we're going to do. I mean, we have plans and ideas. And, I mean, just look at this. And then Alex, he's going to be playing the part, I bet you didn't know it, Miss Hannigan.
Thank you. I gladly accept. Oh, that'd be wonderful.
She's effectively a drag queen anyway.
She was playing, in the revival, it was Jane Lynch. She is a drag queen. We have
I love this.
We have to.
Oh my god. All right. So you're Miss Hannigan. Okay. I'm your brother Rooster.
Right.
Who do we get as Daddy Warbucks? It has to be someone we know or admire.
If we keep this up, I kind of now have this vision of it being like fair people, we get a bunch of us. Instinctively, I feel like an interesting Daddy Warbucks would be Arthur Rowan.
I can see that.
And he's not bald.
I feel like a very laid back version of Daddy Warbucks.
I don't know.
No, I want him to be Roosevelt. Okay.
All right. He'd be Roosevelt.
Yeah, he'd be Roosevelt.
I don't know. Who would be...
You know who you get to be Daddy Warbucks? John Williams of the Lords of Adventure. So Jack Bold of the Lords of Adventure. Because he started shaving his head anyway.
He's right there. He could do it.
John, you're Daddy Warbucks.
So good.
See, we have ideas. It's amazing.
When it comes together like this, it has to happen. So...
No, it does. Everyone, you're going to get your casting notices very soon. Just, by the way, you've been cast. Not will you accept the offer. You've been cast.
It's happening. I'll see you at the rehearsal.
Oh, now all we need to do is get the rights.
Easy.
Oh my gosh. All right, going back to the comments real quick. Jimothy is saying he likes the Augustus version of Shakespeare with boom boom, just the little boom going on. Well, thank you very much. And he says, also stoked to see Alex is on. Huzzah, yes. Jennifer Bell saying, so happy to see you both. Good morning, Master Shakespeare, and good morning, Master Stompoly. Good morning. And Kathy Cruz always wanted curly red hair because of Annie. Didn't we all? Susan Hill says we should cast Patrick Stewart. On the one hand, we can't afford him. On the other hand, he says yes to terrible projects. So...
Yeah, I think you get to when you finally hit like a certain level of fame, you can just finally do whatever you want, and it's not going to affect your clout at all.
That's the Daniel Radcliffe thing. I mean, look at all the weird projects he's doing. I mean, he's just like, you want to do Miracle Workers? Absolutely. That's a weird show, and I love it. I am here for it. Have you seen it?
I saw the previews for the first season, but I knew it got like a revamp, and it was kind of set in like a medieval for season.
I haven't watched season 2 yet.
I know the premise of the show, but I've not had the pleasure yet of like sitting down and...
So, angels are working miracles. God has become bored with Earth and wants to destroy it. But basically, heaven is run as like a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
And it's amazing, and some of the cameos will blow your mind. Um, oh! If we weren't using people we know,
Mhm.
if it was open to anybody, Titus Burgess as Daddy Warbucks.
I love that.
Yeah.
I used one of his monologues from the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt to audition.
Which one? I
The
need to know. I need to know.
the my name is not Titus. My name is Ronald Wilkerson. I came here on a bus from Chickasaw County, Mississippi. You know who comes from Chickasaw County? Nobody. I have auditioned for The Lion King 17 times in the last 5 years before they finally told me you will not pass as a straight giraffe. I haven't sung publicly in 3 years. I work at an arcade. My boss is 17 years old and I get paid in quarters. And it's that whole thing where he tells you, pack up your trifles and whatnot. New York is not the place for you. But don't worry about me. I'm pretty, tough like a diamond, or beef jerky in a ball gown.
Bravo!
That's been in my book for years, and it's actually successfully gotten me one job. Thank you, Gary Mazu.
Oh my God! See, the thing is, it only needs to get you one job.
And then you feel good about it. You never have to touch the monologue again. It did its job.
That is bloody brilliant. I adore that show. Now, did you see the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Choose Your Own Adventure movie on Netflix?
It did. I
watched it 7 times, and
it was,
and I still feel like I haven't done everything
that you can do.
Yeah.
No, I love it. It was such a brilliant show. It was so funny and so smart and just.
Speaking of Daniel Radcliffe, by the way, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'm richer than God. Why not?
I already did the 8 films I needed to make my career. It's over.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Dan Wentel says Daddy Warbucks should have long hair. I'm willing to entertain this. He's shaven-headed though because of the comic strip though.
He is.
Yeah, that's why. And Susan Hill says, and also be a woman.
Okay, I mean.
Yeah. Kathy Cruz says Miss Hannigan is her dream role. Singing Little Girls would be the best. Little girls. And then Jennifer Bell says Gwendolyn of the Gwendolyn Show would be a marvelous Miss Hannigan. You're not wrong. Oh my God, yes. Oh, this show is going to be a hot mess. And oh my God, yes. Yes, this is happening. This is happening. I mean, but see, here's the thing. No. See, Gwendolyn can't be Miss Hannigan because Alex is Miss Hannigan. Gwendolyn would have to be Rooster's girlfriend.
Lily St. Regis.
Thank you, Lily St. Regis. That's who Gwendolyn would have to be.
Yeah, which floor?
Oh my God! This show's gonna happen, and we're gonna find some brilliant young child and make their career. This is Broadway dreams, people. Broadway dreams.
It would be so fun. It would be like when the Hollywood Bowl gets together and it's just like those like star-studded musical cast. We do just like the Ren Fair Bowl, and it's just a bunch of performers from different fairs across the circuit. We get together.
Oh yeah, I and that's the beautiful thing about these Zoom shows, because like the Robert Burns night we just did.
Mm-hmm.
We had Lady Prudence, who performs with me at New York Renaissance Fair, but she also performs Carolina and Arizona. We had Haggis Rampant, who performs Louisiana and Alabama. We had the Langers Ball, who are Minnesota based. I mean, it was a wonderful show. And then for New Year's Eve, we had Lady Prudence and Langers Ball, but we also had Andrew McKee from down in Texas. We had Paolo Garbanzo down in Virginia. We had Chase Treasure doing their bits from the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. So they had recorded 2 months before the actual show, and God love them for that. Thank you, because it gives me time to edit. But it's just absolutely wonderful time of just having performers from all over. And sometimes you all know each other, and then sometimes you're meeting someone new, And so things like that, or just digital Ren Fair nights,
Hmm.
they're just absolutely wonderful. And so that is a good thing I'm going to say about this current iteration of performing that we're in.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have never had the pleasure of being at the same fair together. I mean,
Never in the same room.
yeah, I've seen you, and and I know of you, but it wasn't until Nat 21 and bringing us that we finally started to have a relationship and become friends and work together that way. So it's really been great.
Yeah, it's absolutely delightful with a capital D. And I see what you're thinking, Internet. Yes, that did mean two things. And it's just absolutely wonderful. And of course, I want to get back to in-person performing in theaters and at Renaissance festivals. But just so you know, Internet, this show is not going to go away. I might go to one day a week, but it's not going away. Once we get back into a combo normal, a hybrid normal. Yes, it's going to. I mean, and some of the shows that have begun, I can speak freely on this, such as Nat 21, such as Coffee Break, and happy hour shows and whatnot. A lot of these shows we are going to continue into the physical world and just record them and stream them later. But it'll be like, here's the live taping and here's the guests, and I'm gonna have like a desk on stage and act like a talk show host, and it's gonna be stupid. I'm gonna come out and do a monologue in front of a curtain, and instead of being like, well, here's what's in the news today, it's like, now is the winter of our discontent.
Yeah, and it needs to happen because when quarantine first started, if anyone can remember back, what seems like can't really, it was 9 months ago or whatever. I had a digital show with Mount Hope with the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, and it was called Tea Time, and it was an iteration of an Instagram show that myself and a fellow actor Jonathan Handley had done, and they asked us to do it as a 30-minute little show on their streaming service. And then when we did Fair this summer, and we had cut the cast down and we were looking to fill up stages and stuff, they approached us and they're like, do you want to do it on as a stage show here at the fair? And so we were able to bring it out of the digital world and actually do it in front of people. It was a very different experience, but it was wonderful. It was nice to see that come through. So I would absolutely love to see your show manifest itself on stage and be in front of people, because I think it would be incredible and different, but just captivating to the audience. If they've loved it in this medium, they're going to love it in real time. So
yeah, and also just getting to do back to doing, my show that I like doing, because on a regular Renaissance Fair day, I have anywhere from 2 to 4 sets.
Mm-hmm.
And being that I am not a musical actor, it's like, all right, you can hear the same song 50 times in a row, and it never gets old. You have it on repeat. You hear the same joke again and again and again. It's like, that's going to get stale. So, I very early on in my stage show, it was every set has to be different than the last one, and part of that is accomplished by it being an audience interactive show, so that the audience members are the actors in the show. I say the line, you say the line, and so on, and then doing different stories. So there's Romeo and Juliet, the Flying Implement of Doom edition, and then we got Twelfth Night in the Three Bears, and then we got Macbeth, Death by Fluffy Kittens, and then we got The Tempest, a 3-hour tour, and Julius Caesar, Beware the Ides of March of the Penguins, and Titus Andronicus, for kids, and the Hamlet Christmas special, where just this once everyone lives, and Richard Too Fast, Too Furious, but I digress. I'm looking forward to doing those in person with people again, and I believe actually my very first chance is going to be with your boss, Bob Geary, down in Texas at the Scarborough Renaissance Festival. I'm going to be there the final 2 weekends of May. Everybody, you should come on down.
Yes.
Oh yes, come on down. And it's going to be a weird version. It's going to be close to how I do it on Zoom, whereas I'm over here and you're over here.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna intertwine and all that. I'm probably gonna be masked. You're definitely gonna be masked, and and we'll engage that way. and some of the sets might not be able to happen. For instance, where I'm like chucking things at you, like where I'm just chucking cats at you, like where I take this fluffy kitten. This is Paul, by the way. Yes, that is a name for a cat. And I take Paul and I throw him at you for you to die. And that might not be allowed to happen because then I'd have to sanitize Paul. But a lot of the other shows can happen. Like I've seen how it can work through Zoom. Of just, all right, turn to your parents and kill them. All right, cool, just do that, and it works. So I'm looking forward to having this fun hybrid show. Now that was a long monologue for me saying I'm really looking forward to this. But question for Alex was in here from Kathy Cruz. All right, what was it like to do the Renaissance Fair during COVID? Did you miss the interactions with the guests?
Oh my goodness, it was very very different. Goodness, and really it was that last part with the interactions with the guests, because I my first year when I started, why I fell in love with it is I was a plot show character. I'm not familiar with everyone's fair. My home fair of Kansas City had a sort of a through plot, and PA has one, and I was present at all of those shows. But not everybody goes to those, so you're not going to necessarily know me from that. So I really made my name, and the impact that my fair had on me was in the streets, talking with the patrons and with the guests, and getting to know them that way, and having a fun time with them. And so it was very different to have my show, and I would have, okay, I'm going to be here at 2:00, and once the show is done, I'm immediately going to sort of, we said, like, Disney character our way. We were going to move from stage to backstage because I wasn't, able to be out on the streets with people. So it was very different in that way. But that was overshadowed a little bit just by the immense joy of still being able to be there. I didn't have a lot of time to reflect in the moment about what I was missing because I was just so thankful for what I was getting, which was really nice. In that regard. So yeah, I missed audience interaction. I missed goofing with people on the street. I missed all of that. But it made me relish in my time that I was on stage and when I did get to see people. And thankfully I had my improv show. I've talked about it now twice, Tea Time. Jonathan and I were able to really have, 30 to 45 minutes of back and forth with our audience, which was very, very appreciated. So yeah, even though it was different, it was still incredible. So I guess, that answers the question.
Speaking of improv shows, Alex does an improv show on Wednesdays with Improv Technology. Facebook.com/improv technology. Check that out.
Yes, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we go live. There are a bunch of wonderful, a lot of them are fair performers from the PA Ren Fair and across the circuit. We've been together every Wednesday or Saturday since quarantine began. Doing weekly improv shows, and we have a fantastic time. It's right here on Facebook Live, so yeah, check us out.
Wonderful. And so, question for you about interacting with guests. Did anyone try to take the high ground? By that I mean physically the high ground and do it, such as the town. It's been a decade since I've been on the grounds at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
The town crier tower,
yeah,
called down at people and things like that.
We when we opened, and so it was very weird because we at the time PA was one of the first fairs to I say we adjusted our opening date, but to really stick to the guns of opening because we were all kind of, I think, all theaters were looking at each other and being like, what are you doing? How can we adjust? And I was very thankful to be part of the team that put together a lot of the safety measures to open. And I took a lot of my lead off of what the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater was doing, which is local to us, and what, SAG and Equity were doing to keep their actors safe. And I just sort of compiled all of this information. And when we first opened, we all held back as a cast because we were only, the cast of the fair this past summer was 10 people. That's all we had aside from our wonderful independent acts who came in. And so we held back because we didn't want to either set a precedent of what our street interaction was going to be at the beginning and then have to pull back. We would rather have it be, pretty stripped and bare, and then if we felt comfortable, move forward. And so once we saw how patrons were handling all of the measures and how things were working and we felt good, we did take to doing a lot of second story work. My director Jeff Wolfall and I, and along with some of the other actors, we walked around and identified a bunch of places that we could safely do second story work. We were still masked, but we were able to project and yell and create that environment, which is wonderful because it's something we can now that we know those things worked, you can add those in addition to when street work comes back to create a more lively fair on all facets. So it's going to be wonderful to bring those two worlds together.
That is a thing I've always adored doing, being on a balcony. Well, I'm Shakespeare, so of course I do.
Of course.
But
you have that whole scene that everyone knows.
I know. I mean, the famous balcony town crier scene where the character was calling off all of the cricket scores. I mean, everyone knows that from Hamlet 2. I mean, everyone knows that. I mean, it's a famous bit.
I cry every time.
I know, right? That is a bit I used to do at that festival. I would stand in the town crier tower, and have my tiny cellular monstrosity, as we called it then, hid inside of a book, and I would I'd have my pen, and I'm just like, and I would have a little nubbin on my a little stylus nubbin on my actual quill stylus, so I could scroll on the, and I would call off sports scores, and I would have names written down for what I'm calling the teams today. So for instance, it'd be like the Steel City, like some of them were very obvious. So for Pittsburgh Steelers, for instance, would be the Steel City Ironmongers. Baseball was like, do I even change this name? They're the Pirates. Do I even? The Pirates have defeated those who wear red stockings. I mean, it's like, oh, it's very straightforward, non-clever. But I would stand up there and just do a 20-minute Sports Center bit. And then one day, people started joining me, and she's like, "All right, so how do you think this is gonna go?" And then then the second half of it would turn into where our joust predictions, like. And one day, and we knew the bit was over when we just decided to point for point say exactly how the final joust was going to go. So, Sir Connor is going to be dehorsed, but then pick up his lance and strike Sir Lucas in the pate, fully face on. Sir Lucas will do a backward tumble off of his horse, get up, and cold-cock Sir Connor. At this point, we're going to have a royal rumble, and quite possibly all of the peasants are going to rush the field. What are your thoughts about this, Sir Walter? Well, I think, I don't know. I think Queen Elizabeth might also get into the fray and shoot off a musket. Do you really? Yes. I mean, like, and people thought that was really funny, and then the artistic director came over and said, all right, you can't do this anymore.
But there's nothing funnier than when you've been doing the festival for a handful of weeks and you all agree to finally get meta and just openly discuss the plot in a way that that your patrons are maybe oblivious to in that moment. So then when they finally experience, they're like, wait, hold on. A couple years ago, we did the same thing. We have a show, Disaster Piece Theater, and we did like a spoof on Batman v Superman, and we did like the betrayal twist of like our jester being like the Joker, but we used all of the dialogue for that scene from the Ultimate Joust that people would see later on that day. We just took it and put it right there. And that's so amazing. We did the entire thing, and then people would go to Ultimate Joust and they'd see it, and then afterwards they'd come up to us and be like, you told us the plot of the day, but what? And I was like, yeah, okay, bye, have a good day.
Oh, goodness. It's Jay DeVere, you're absolutely correct. Beautiful to watch a small bit grow to absolute absurdity that way. I love it when people say, that was hilarious, it was amazing, peed my pants, never do it again. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. Note taken, thank you.
So that's what we all want to hear.
Oh, yeah, it's just like, all right, we have reached maximum awesome. And you can't repeat the magic. At some points, it's just like, no, that was for today. There was one we tried to do with the improv show, Who's Jest at the time, and we had this most amazing day, and we're like, could we repeat some of those bits? And we're like, yeah, probably. And we rehearsed them and like scripted it out. And so it's like, all right, this works really well. And it did work really well. It just no longer felt improvised. It just felt like we're doing a good SNL sketch.
Yeah, yeah. The audience may still enjoy it, but
oh yeah, and they did.
There's something gets lost in you, like that spontaneous feeling you've got is now like, oh damn it, it's canned. Now I don't love it anymore.
Yeah, but it was a wonderful exercise too of using improv to find out how this is going to work, and then going back and writing it down and say, all right, we now have using improv to create the bones of a scene or a show, and then going in and actually writing it out and creating better jokes. And like a lot of the jokes were more solid than they were in the improvised version, and they were also fast, and we were able to just jump on each other's lines, and it was perfect and brilliant and beautiful. It just wasn't the manic improvisational energy that we had the very first time. But so many benefits to both. Alex Stompoly, where can people find you?
Oh, goodness gracious. I am on Instagram at Stompoly. I am here on Facebook. My professional actor page is Alex Stompoly. Facebook.com/Stompoly is where you can find me.
I've been pronouncing your name wrong this entire time, and you never once corrected me.
Well, it's fine. You are much closer than a vast majority of the population. They'll put in extra letters, so you're good. It's just an emphasis thing. It's okay.
You're very kind.
I'm not a hateful guest. I've been welcomed into your home here. The first thing I'm going to do is critique you. We'll do that after.
By the way, it's like, oh, this was so much fun, and we're off. By the way, I hate you, and I hate your face. Oh my god!
If I did at the beginning, you'd have just hit stop. You are in control. I'd have been like, thank you so much. By the way, you've already messed it up. You'd have been like, boop, and he's gone. That was a cute.
I only do that to Paolo Garbanzo. That's the only person I do that to. Well, he's the only one who I kick out, and it's only kicking him out of his own show. So
he deserves it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my two hives where I live. I post a lot on both. And there's carryover, and I'll lead you astray once you get there. So yeah, find me on Instagram and Facebook.
And then, of course, on Wednesdays, Improv Technology, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And join Alex for Love, Dine, Drink at Mount Hope Estate and Winery, February 12th through 14th. Tickets at parenfair.com. There's going to be a brunch involved.
There is. We are super excited. Myself and the very, very talented and hilarious Jen Espenshade are teaming up together to reprise characters we've been playing off and on for a while. She'll be playing the ever wonderful, drunk, gracious host, Daisy Grubb, and I, her confirmed bachelor friend, Joseph Sutter. And we are single people helping loved ones navigate Valentine's Day weekend. So join us. It'll be great.
I adore that. I think it's going to be so much fun. I wish you nothing but love, luck, and lollipops on that show. And Alex, stick around. I want to talk to you right after the show is over for a brief moment. But as we are winding up, friends, just a couple of upcoming announcements for us. Remember, Shakespeare's Coffee Break is here every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow morning, we have the lovely, the talented, the ginger Daniel Greenwolf joining us, talking about his upcoming show, Celtic Magic Virtually Live, and it's going to be a benefit show this weekend, actually. So join us for that tomorrow morning. Thursday mornings at 10:35, we have Writing Sonnets with Shakespeare, where you, the audience, and me, your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare, write a sonnet together. It can be about hope. It can be about coffee. It has been about hope, and it has been about coffee. And you create the theme, we create something magical together. Friday mornings at this time, we have the new episode of Shakespeare Reviews. This week, we're going to be talking about the 1996 Twelfth Night, starring, I believe, Stephen Fry. It's going to be an absolute wonderful good time. Shakespeare Reviews is the movie review show I do with Andrew McKee, the Irish bard, over at Life's Affair, where we take movies inspired by the Shakespeare canon and, well, review them. So join us on my Facebook page, facebook.com/ShakespeareApproves, for that show. And then Friday evenings at 5:35 p.m., Shakespeare's shameless self-promotion happy hour, where we do all that we were doing here, but we also drink. And that's going to be full of music and happiness. The Zenith players are usually my guests, as well as this week we have Kitty Chaos, the Dame of Danger, and Matthew Young, the Pride of Ireland. And then, of course, tonight at 8 p.m, the season premiere of Nat 21 Adventures. Go to twitch.tv/Nat21Adventures to watch that show. Once again, my special thanks go to Alex Stompoly, and if you love him, throw him some money. You can go to his Venmo. I'm sorry, Alex Stompoly. I'm going to get it right. Toss a coin to your actor. On Venmo, Alex Stompoly. And if you enjoyed this show half as much as I enjoy making it, then I obviously enjoy it twice as much as you do. And that's called maths. And whatever you feel the show is worth, a 1, a 5, a 10, for a 50, I will come and perform Annie in your front garden. The entire libretto. Yes. The sun will come out tomorrow. Throw it into my hat, and by hat I mean buy me a cup of coffee. Go to coffee.com/Shakespeare, ko-fi.com/Shakespeare, and buy me a cuppa. Or you can become a Patreon of the arts and give me more consistent support, and I thank everyone for doing that over at patreon.com/Shakespeare. Tiers start at $3 and go all the way to $30, and right now all of the tiers get the exact same rewards because I want everyone to have access to the weirdness. So thank you very much for joining me today. Until next time, I love you, you love me. There is mutual glorious affection. And as Jody Tweed says, you are loved. So Alex Stompoly, you are loved.
Aww.
Jody says it right there. All right. Have a great day, friends.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.